What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew, and it is the Paul James Show, our Monday night review episode. Don't worry, Ben's gone. I'm back. He might be talking some shit here in the chat, but apparently he can't read the earlier comments. 7:40 start tonight, a little bit delayed. Ben, he's not known for his literacy. But here we are. We're back at it, and I'm keen to get into it all tonight with you. There's a lot to go through. In fact, some news breaking just as we got started. Shadu, different shirt. No, I've worn this in the past. And stay tuned for Nuff tomorrow because it's the same shirt I was wearing this morning when I recorded Nuff. Go check that one out tomorrow. Won't take a genius to know who I'm coming after this week when it comes to Nuff of the week. But let's kind of get into things here because there's a little bit of news we want to get through. We're going to go through the reaction here, review, I should say, even. I've got a separate reaction video, a review of the Geelong and Richmond game alongside you in the chat tonight. I'm looking forward to talking about that game. We'll go around the grounds and look at the other games that have been played and the game that is still to come between the Gold Coast and the Essendon Football Club, and I guess what goes on there and how that potentially affects 7th, 8th, and 9th on the ladder. We'll go through your Q&A. We'll touch on game of the week. My God, I've thrown myself off. It's going to be a big show tonight. But first, we are going to get into some news because there's been a few things that have dropped in the last little while, and I have seen a few of you discussing it here in the chat, and I haven't missed it either. The big one to kick things off tonight is that Willie Rioli from Port Adelaide has called it quits quite suddenly. After 109 games at AFL level across, of course, the West Coast Eagles and now Richmond, Port Adelaide, he has pulled the pin. He's 30 years old. He's played 3 seasons for Port Adelaide, and it turns out he's third and last. So it's a bit of a surprise. Obviously, there's been a bit of controversy following him over the course of the year. Don't know how much impact that did or didn't have on the decision. It could also have a bit to do with Kenny's departure, and there could be a range of different things. It could also just be a bit of an overhaul time at Port Adelaide right now. So we'll see how that kind of plays out within the club. Obviously, there's been some delistings already going on. We'll talk more about that shortly. It's been a bit of a big day. Ben's already flagging one of them there with Jeremy Finlayson, and we'll talk more about some of the other delistings shortly. But a new Josh Carr-led era has begun, and surprisingly, Willie Rioli has joined the list of players on the way out. He was certainly playing some pretty good football, so we need a blind dating segment on the off season for Scotty. I mean, we've still got Lucas, and I've forgotten her name now. Our Tasmanian friend, that he was a little bit smitten by. So we can get some dating segments going, and we can try and find love for Scotty as well, potentially as well. Also, but anyway, let's get going here. I've loved my time at Port Adelaide and West Coast and made lifelong friends. I thank the Glenelg Football Club for everything they did for me in preparing for the AFL. I thank everyone who's provided me such a great support across my journey, and I'll reach out personally to all those who've helped me along the way. In particular, I want to acknowledge the fans at Port Adelaide and West Coast who gave me so much love and support. I now look forward to playing my role in helping the next generation of First Nations players coming through. And that, as referenced here, is joining the 5 other players who've been delisted, including Jeremy Finlayson and Ryan Burton, as the changing of hands begins. We'll jump across now to another story here around players leaving, and that is, of course, the one that we just referenced here, the 5 players that have been delisted from the Port Adelaide Football Club, including Ryan Burton, Jeremy Finlayson, and now you can add on top of that, of course, Willie Rioli. Dylan Williams, Lockie Charleston, and Hugh Jackson have also been let go on top of those guys. But honestly, like the Ryan Burton and Jeremy Finlayson ones, they're big calls. They're both more than capable at the AFL level. Are they your absolute high flyers of the competition? No. Has Jeremy Finlayson in particular found himself in some hot water in the last couple of years? Yes. Do I feel a little bit sympathetic because in the case of Finlayson, because his wife, I think, was dealing with some pretty significant health stuff. I could be wrong. Chat, please clarify for me. I'm pretty sure it was like serious cancer, if I remember. So I've, more sympathy there because obviously income coming through the door helps when you're dealing with really serious health things like that. And so it's a big hit to them. But so I feel for them, and hopefully both players find a home, because I think Burton can offer quite a lot. Finlayson can offer quite a lot as well. There's some teams, really looking for key forward players, and Jeremy Finlayson fits that bill. He may not be your number one, he might be your number two or number three, but I think he belongs on an AFL list based on his footballing prowess, if nothing else. But that's the decision that's been made around those two. We'll now kick to another story here that involves the West Coast Eagles, because they too have started culling players in the last 24 hours. West Coast have delisted Jack Petruccelli, key defender Callum Jamieson, and one gamer Locke Rawlinson. Poor bloke, one game, but it's better than none, I suppose. They've all been delisted, and of course, that I guess the next piece that I was going to refer to is that Jayden Hunt has also announced his retirement earlier today as well. But Petruccelli's a speedster. We all know that he's got some serious wheels on him. He's played 90 games, only 2 in 2025, which does say a lot considering the state that the West Coast Eagles have been in. But he is now looking for a new home. Jamieson joined the club from Claremont with pick 49 in 2019. Ongoing injury setbacks have brought his career to an end. And Rawlinson was recruited as a rookie from Sturt at the end of 2023, made his debut in Gather Round 2024, and hasn't appeared since. And of course, we then just try and wedge the Pies in there, because good one, AFL. And so that then takes us to our next story here, which then is the Jayden Hunt story. He is departing after being a two-club, 172-game player. Unfortunately, missing out on the 2021 premiership for the D's. West Coast winger and former Melbourne player Jayden Hunt has announced his retirement after 172 games at the highest level. Hunt joined the Eagles from the Demons at the end of 2022 and played 58 games in the West, including 15 this year. So this one feels odd as well. A bit like Willie Rioli. Feels odd, a bit too soon. His stint at West Coast came after he played 114 games for the Demons after being drafted in 2013, including 20 games in their run to a premiership in 2021. But he did get injured late in the piece and missed out on the victory in the end, which is really unfortunate. There's always, unfortunately, those sad stories that pop up in premiership years. Obviously, Cats fans, we all think of Matty Egan, for example, as one of those really, and Max Holmes more recently, as some of these really shit stories that kind of come out of grand finals. Players who absolutely deserve to be there, but were cut short right at the final post, and that's what happened to Jayden Hunt. That's what happened to Matty Egan. That's what happened to Max Holmes. Really, really disappointing there. Shadu, I have seen that story. I'm going to jump into that one next, but I might just pin your comment so that we can revisit it, because it's been a topical thing in the last few days for sure. But yeah, Jayden Hunt will be retiring. He said, "While it's been tough on the field, I've enjoyed the challenges, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for this promising young group," the 30-year-old said of his time at the Eagles. "I'm sure they'll rise up the ladder soon, or later, one or the other." And then just to put a bow on all of our delistings and retirements, here is, courtesy of the AFL, an up-to-date list of what we've got so far. Very basic, but I guess I'd expect nothing else from the AFL. They are pretty basic. Adelaide Crows, obviously, you're going to look at a lot of your finals contenders, and these will be mostly blank so far, save for Collingwood here with Will Hoskin-Elliott. But we can get a little bit of a snapshot. It's not the qualifying final that we need to be worried about. It's a prelim final. He does his hamstrings in prelim finals. Just put him in cotton wool. If we can get over the top of Brisbane, get ourselves a home prelim, put him out. Just late change, Max Holmes out, someone else in, get the win, bring him back for the grand final. Every chance, please. Anyway, we'll keep that one pinned so we can come back to it. So yeah, obviously Sam Doherty retired, Will Hoskin-Elliott retired, Nat Fyfe, Quinton Narkle and Michael Walters all retired. Nat Fyfe is obviously still going around till the end. Geelong, Gold Coast, nobody yet. Callum Ward retired. Luke Bruce retired, but potentially still going to play for Hawthorn before the end of the season. Port Adelaide, the big cull today. Rory Atkins retired. Ryan Burton delisted. Travis Boak retired. Lockie Charleston delisted. Jeremy Finlayson delisted. Hugh Jackson delisted. Willie Rioli Jr. retired. And Dylan Williams delisted. There's going to be a lot of players coming into that club. And crazy, they didn't even get Nasiah, and they're still culling hard. But anyway, Richmond delisting Camden McIntosh, St Kilda, Zane Cordy and Jimmy Webster. West Coast, Hunt, Jamieson, McGovern, Petruccelli, Rawlinson and Sheed all gone, and Taylor Duray is gone from the Western Bulldogs. It has been a big cull so far already. So look out for this draft. It's going to be a really fascinating one. We know that it's not necessarily the deepest of drafts from all reports, but some clubs are going to be filling their boots. And I guess if there's a time to do it with Tasmania breathing down everyone's necks ahead of 2027, now's probably that time to get in. So, and try and find some diamonds in the rough. But let's now quickly hone in on Shadoo's comment here. The MCC has launched, and I was listening to a report on Channel 9 earlier. The MCC has launched an investigation into multiple homophobic slurs directed at the same footballer who was on the receiving end of the Isaac Rankin slur. Yeah, all reports are this. So what my understanding is, what I listened to in the report is that the people responsible were reported by the I can't remember what that hotline's called, but the hotline at the MCG where Scotty says he'll take Camden McIntosh, or Carlton will take anyone right now if their body holds up. But that the one for like inappropriate behavior anyway, that hotline, someone called that one the antisocial hotline. Thank you, Jackie. Someone called the antisocial hotline and flagged the behavior. This was all before halftime, that there'd been multiple comments made. But by the time people were able to get there at halftime, these individuals had already left. So I guess there'll be an investigation that will still need to take place. They'll look at their CCTV footage, work out who these people are. The MCC, I know, like the MCC oversee the entire ground, so I don't know if they were actually from the MCC or if they were just at the MCG itself. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, Pies and D's game. So presumably Melbourne supporters in this case throwing these comments at the same Collingwood player from last time. I mean, you like ban the Melbourne supporters, but also I guess they don't have any finals to look forward to, so they'll be just swanning on off to the snow anyway, nice and soon. So that is that. If there's any other stories, please make sure to flag it. There's been a lot going on, but I've been kind of in work mode for a large chunk of the day. My head a little bit in the sand. Let me know if there's anything else that's popped up that you would like to talk about over the course of this. I'm double checking the AFL website now. Do I have a spare seat in my corporate box for the qualifying final? I want to tell you all a story of heartbreak when it comes to my MCC thing. Romy says they don't turn up anyway. Nicely said. So for the longest time, and I've told this story about like my MCC, like I'm obviously an MCC member and feel very privileged to have done so. Fortunately, my granddad was an MCC member, signed my dad up and all of his brothers and sisters when they were kids. Dad then got me signed up basically at birth as well. And I got my membership just in time for the 2007 breakthrough. But for the longest time, so my granddad had been a member dating way back to the sexist days where women weren't allowed to have MCC memberships. And finally, the AFL woke up to how ridiculous that was. But in the meantime, they had like a ladies pass, and it was like it was like, you're not allowed to have a membership, but hey, we'll give it to the men and they can bring their women with them. That sort of really bullshit attitude. That ladies pass eventually became a generic guest pass, and the only people who could actually keep those, could actually get those guest passes were people who had them from back in the day and had continued their membership. And so for years, I've been thoroughly enjoying reaping the benefits of that. I've brought mates along to grand finals, all sorts. My granddad has decided he's not going to continue his membership this year. Effective, what's the date today? Effective Sunday, or effective Monday, I guess technically September 1st, he will no longer be an MCC member. He's he can't get to the game much these days, like at all these days actually. So he realized, it's money that I shouldn't be spending. Family had been kind of paying for the guest pass part of things for a little while. But anyway, he no longer wants to pay even for his own membership. That means the guest pass disappears. I can't bring my wife into the final series this year, and I wasn't told. So I was starting to make all sorts of promises and budgeting for it. Now, of course, that's if Geelong makes it, but I was making all sorts of promises. This year, you're coming along. She was all keen. It's now a promise I can't keep. So if we make it, I really got to scramble. And I've never had to rush out to buy grand final tickets before. So I'll be looking at all of you, community, to teach me through my best way to approach this one and to get myself in. But because or get her in, sorry, because I can still get in free, but now I can't bring anyone with me. And I don't want to be that lonely guy on grand final day, especially if we lose. That's what the family have been doing. And now he's just decided, my financial situation's a bit rough these days. Patreon.com/thehoopscrew. No, my financials are a bit tight these days, so I can't even try and swoop in on mine and go, look, I'll pay for your membership and then the double expense for your guest pass when I could barely pay for my own MCC membership that I had to have sorted in the next few days. That's done, but I've got some nasty power bills and stuff. So anyway, so I can't just pay $3,000 like he did. Yeah. If only you should do. I think there's going to be some union action coming up pretty soon. I'm confident because what the union has brought to the table, no one clipped this. What the union has brought to the table with our latest pay negotiations is insanely good for teachers. Well deserved because we got absolutely torched on the last one. The pay increase was actually less than the inflation rate. So we're actually earning less or we're worse off than what we were before. This time they're trying to... we'll see. So yeah, anyway, I can't afford to pay my granddad's membership. So they just need to find a way to get it. It's a crazy good deal. And if they even get half, if it gets negotiated down to half that rate, I'll still be delighted. Not as delighted, but I'll still be delighted. That'll take away pretty much all of the stresses and concerns in my life right now, because finances are kind of the primary worry for me right now. So, Romy says, any sponsorship chances? That's a question for Ben. Ben is our real Paul to put super chat into overdrive. Please, if you want me to bring my wife to the grand final, hit that super chat and donate. I don't know, about $1,000. Every drop in the ocean or in the bucket helps. I'm kidding, please. But anyway, so yeah, Ben's the one to talk to when it comes to sponsorship stuff. Obviously, we've got the wonderful Cyril Cook Florist who helps out. We've got Shannon Peets who helps out when it comes to post game live. Ben is a bit of a hustler in that space. He'll be reaching out to people and putting our numbers out there and putting our engagement. Essentially, all the amazing things that you guys have kind of contributed to making this community what it is. That'll be part of the pitch. So I'll leave Ben to sort those sorts of things out. That's where his and also him being a Geelong local can kind of speak to the Geelong businesses. I'm an hour and change out, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, let's set our sights on the game from this past weekend, Geelong and Richmond. It's time we focused on that game, and then we'll get back to, because I can see Gary starting to talk about the G and the home ground stuff. Ben, shut your damn mouth. So let's shift over to the game from this past weekend and talk a little bit about what happened between Geelong and Richmond. Of course, you've all had the opportunity to check out my reaction video. Speak to Cotton On. We'll hit up Bailey Smith and see what he can do for us. You've all had the opportunity to check out the reaction video, and I hope that you have too. Hello to all the MCG Geelong fans. As nearly 500 of you have already done checking out the reaction video on the Hoops Crew channel, please make sure to go check that out if you haven't already for a far more in-depth version than what I'll do with this. I'm certainly looking to interact with you a little bit more with your thoughts on the game. But anyway, Cats getting the job done by 39 points. And I think the general sentiment that I certainly expressed in my video and that I've started, initially there was a lot of, feel like, and I saw it within our own community as well, which was, that's not good enough. You need to finish the game the way you want to start the next one. And, queries and concerns about the way we played. The Cats put the Q in the rack. They absolutely put the Q in the rack. And wanted to preserve themselves, preserve their bodies, make sure that there was no injuries. And it seems like they were successful in that regard. So, I'm all for it. Ben, I hope you're paying attention to some of the ideas here. Jackie's just put a great one there about the daughter of Mr. Cotton On has a new jewelry store in Newtown. Maybe she would like to sponsor. Come on, Ben, take notes. Stop talking shit in the chat. Take notes. But anyway, so Cats by 39 points. They put the Q in the rack. I don't think there was a huge amount to really glean from this game in the end. They started the first half incredibly well. What was it, 11 goals to 2? Let me double check. Yeah, 11 goals to 2 in the first half. 23 shots to 5. That's the Geelong model that I think we're really wanting to see. And then they just shelved it. Good, Ben. You're learning, mate. Anyway, they put the Q in the rack at that point. There's really nothing to see here. Mark Blitzarv's being subbed. Max Holmes getting some bench time at the end. They're really starting to protect our players, protect Maxie's hamstrings. Protect those hamstrings, everyone. Look after him. But I don't know about you, but I honestly don't think there's a lot that we can really take from this match. We look at things like the team stats, and I've done all this before. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. There's not a lot. Like, I was impressed by the clearance numbers, to be honest, because the midfield of Richmond is still pretty solid. From Prestia to Taranto to Hopper, they go all right. And they did a lot of the heavy lifting for them while we rotate players through. So I was pretty okay with this. I want to see it step up a few gears coming against some of the opponents in the finals, but I was okay with it. It's fine. And then a lot of it, the rest of it's all, and look, even these figures themselves will be skewed a little bit by the drop off from Geelong in the second half. We were playing with our food, and I'm fine with it. Ben asks, come here. Are we giving away your prize TMN t-shirt on Hoopie's night? I mean, sure. Give it away. Give it away now. Kerry says, good evening, Paul. How's it going, buddy? It was a good game on Saturday against the Tigers. Lucky it wasn't a blowout. It was just to save our best from getting injured. Yeah, and look, it still could have been a blowout anyway because the inaccuracy from Geelong. That's probably my big concern at this particular point. Is just that we've been a bit wayward in front of the sticks. Jez has been up and down since he's kicked his 11. Tyson Stengel has been really wobbly in front of goal lately. Of course, one of those was a pretty awesome attempt from the boundary line on the outside of his foot. But just some of the gimmies we're not taking advantage of at the moment. That's a little bit disappointing. We've got quite a lot of emojis here from roaming. We're already going down the highway at halftime. Brisbane kicked 19 behinds in a crucial game. Yeah, look, they put it all together whenever they play us when it comes to their goal kicking. But they're pretty well renowned for not being the best kicks on goal these days. Here's 101 ways Jeremy Cameron can still kick 100 goals. What does he need? 17? 16? 17? So we'll see how that works out. But Jez and Max can have the 2 and the 1 in terms of the votes, that will be. Want to almost just look at the stats for the first half, and I can't. I apologize. I can't bring up a quarter by quarter on the browser here. I know you can look at some stats quarter by quarter on the AFL site, but finals don't count for the Coleman, Scotty. They do still count if you're talking about kicking 100 goals in a season. People will still storm the ground if he somehow does it. Now, yeah, he's got to kick 6 goals a game probably from here if Geelong kind of goes the way we all want them to go, including you, Scotty. You want us to go all the way as well. If we go qualifying prelim and grand final, he's got to kick 6 goals a game. So I don't see it happening regardless, but they don't according to you. I mean, all right. Anyway, let's kind of keep going here. So that's that game. Let's go around the grounds here and talk about some of the other matchups this weekend. Obviously, there's still some games to play, and we also want to talk about the women's team as well. But on Thursday night, Scotty's Blues, they finished the season with a win, 34 points against the Bombers. The Pies just edged out the Ds by 6 and are still not looking great. Port surprised a lot of people in Kenny Hinkley and Travis Boak's final game, winning by 4 points. The Crows, not at all convincing, winning by 13 against North, and North giving them a hell of a scare there. The Cats, we've already spoken about, by 39 points. The Swans finishing strong, 67-point winners against the Eagles, and look out for them next year when they've actually got fit and firing players. The Giants by 11 points, also not overly convincing. Thankfully for them, they've got Toby Green. Freo by 15, nearly lost it the way the Dogs were coming at them at the end, but had enough of a margin to hang on. The Brisbane Lions, thank you, Brisbane Lions. You earned me some money from my footy tips. From my footy tipping competition, I managed to get some money back. That'll go towards the power bill. But they won by 10 points. And of course, we now have a date with them in 2 weeks. And our final game, finally, the AFL is going to bring the home and away season to a close with Gold Coast and Essendon, the round 0 game that is finally being rescheduled. Absolutely insane. But we'll see this season come to a close on Wednesday. And the Bombers have the opportunity to do something amazing. It won't happen. It won't happen. But they have the opportunity to do something incredible on Wednesday night. But they'll lose by 60 goals. Sorry, 60 points. 60 goals I could also see happening, actually. But they'll lose by 60-plus points. That's enough of that one. All right, before we go any further, before we jump into... No, let's deal with the AFLW now while we're at it before we get to our wonderful sponsors. Disappointing week for the Cats in the AFLW. Things were looking all right. It's a very similar story to what we had against North. Going all right. Didn't take advantage of our opportunities. Note 3 goals, 7. And then suddenly the Crows piled it on with the last 15 minutes of the game and snuffed us out entirely. Congratulations to them. Fantastic effort on their part. Roaming. I'm sorry, mate. I misled you. I made you think that we were about to jump into it, and then I faked you out. My bad. But yeah, I mean, look, that's ugly reading. That last quarter, really disappointing from the girls at the end there. But they'll pull it apart. You back the team and you back the coaching staff to kind of pull it all apart and work out what is going on in these last quarters. How do we arrest the momentum? And I'm sure they'll sort it out. Dog supporters will be on the edge of their seats. Oh, I don't even know what's more amazing. I actually don't know what's more amazing, to see Gold Coast or the Bulldogs miss out. The Bulldogs might be the team. Someone, probably someone officially who works the stats will be able to pull this out. But surely the Bulldogs are going to be when they miss out, because I'm sure they'll miss out, the team with the highest percentage to ever miss finals. Surely. But we'll see. But yeah, finishing that one up, really disappointing effort from the girls. And of course, it doesn't, this season doesn't get any easier. There's always tough teams coming around the corner. And we have the Swans next week, where we are somehow favourites. I worry because we could be in front by 10 goals at 3/4 time and blow it at the moment. But we are the favourites going into that game. Strangely, get around the girls this weekend. Get over to GMHBA. Support loudly. And hopefully we can get our first win on the board for the year. Brendan says, Gold Coast to fold after they get flogged by Essendon. And I'm seeing a few people popping into the chat for the first time tonight as well. Lucas is there. Duncan Mack has popped up. If Cats lose to Lions would be ideal too. None of that. Got a strong feeling. Got a strong feeling we'll be making the grand final. This is from Jaded Lad. But Jaded Lad, you need to change your name. That's a little bit too much confidence from you, considering your name. Feeling a bit, you're jaded by nature, but overly confident in the Cats here. Got a strong feeling we'll be making the grand final. Thinking of adding the premiership add-on, but I only have a 3-game membership. Will it work and allow me to get a grand final ticket if we make it? I don't know. Sorry, I don't know the answer. Holy shit. Thank you, Lucas. 152.17% Richmond, 1999. Let me guess, they finished 9th? Wild. Lucas is right. The game should have been rescheduled months ago. Shadu also, rightly, like this video, please, if you haven't already. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and jump into our Discord channel. There is the link on the screen. Lots of awesome commentary going on there about the football, about plenty of off-topic conversations. Massive shout-out for Shadu, who was helping, because I haven't featured on Postgame Live and I didn't do my Thursday show. So massive shout out to you, Shadu, for being an absolute rock star, helping me through to get my Linkin Park tickets the other day. Because wasn't that a nightmare process? People on forums were losing their minds because things weren't working. But I'm going. I'm going to the second night, going on a Tuesday, which is not the worst thing either, because I would have been going to the Darkness one night and then Linkin Park the next, and that would have cost me some brownie points with my wife. All of this is around the Labor Day public holiday, though, so good stuff. But thank you, Shadu. I really appreciate your help. We emotionally supported each other. And yeah, I think it's funny that I'm going to the Darkness too. I got roped in by some mates. I only know I believe in a thing called love. That's it. That's the only song I know. But they've all like dragged me along. This is like a group chat. There's 4 of us. We basically never see each other. They're like, we're all going to the Darkness. Paul, are you going to come along? Like, how can I say no? I love the Darkness. I love all of their songs. As long as all of their songs that they play on the night consist of I Believe in a Thing Called Love played 20 times. So I'm going to have to check out some of the back catalogue and see what they love. But because I really enjoyed that one song, but I actually just don't know the rest of their stuff. So anyway. Now, let's go back to the conversation that Gary kicked off earlier about, and I don't know how far back I've got to scroll here. But Gary, there we go. I agree that this year we played better at the G than the Litter Tray, but it's still unfair. That is, of course, in reference to the fact that we can't have our home game at GMHBA. I don't know if everyone saw that the GWS social team has started having a bit of a dig. Let me see if I can find that one, because of course they are. And to be fair, Sam Mitchell has offered Ken Hinckley a position at Hawthorn as per, don't believe it, Caroline Wilson. Who knows whether it's true or not. But as per Caroline Wilson, apparently. Where did that post from the GWS social team go? It was something about having a home final, and it was a tongue-in-cheek thing that Geelong, of course, doesn't have a home final. Oh, yeah, here it is. Let me get rid of that one. Stop sharing. Bring up Twitter. Jesus. March for Australia trending. Woo, we're in a good place. But for those who keep asking, we'll join Adelaide and Fremantle in hosting a home final. Our opponent will be determined on Wednesday night. And, of course, you forgot Geelong. They don't have a home final. Fuckers, they're so good at what they do. They're so good at what they do. But to Gary's point, yeah, look, I think it's disappointing. Obviously, I've spoken a little bit about this on video already. It's good banter. It's really good banter. But disappointing nonetheless. I would have loved to have a game at Geelong, but I also am torn because we are absolutely playing better football at the MCG. We'll see how it goes. Little crazy thing called love, Hank Moody. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990, and the other 2 is coming to 4K in the USA from Arrow Video. You should be excited for it. I'm not. Ken would be great to have in a locker room. Essendon have approached Hinkley as well, apparently. Flash Movie Trivia says, I'm rapt that we're at the MCG. I remember the Freo game where we were embarrassed both on and off the field. It's so unfair Geelong have to play a home final at the MCG. I know, Scotty. It must be nice playing finals. Last year, Cats lose to Lions by having too many games apart. Where Lions winning from 5th place, play all weeks till the grand final. You want us to lose, Duncan Mack? Oh, sorry. Now I'm following what you mean. The consistency. I'm with you now. They should play at Marvel. I'll be at that march no matter what. Lucas, thank you. Brisbane destroyed us at home this year. Hopefully the MCG won't work in their favour. Only clubs with 100k memberships should be allowed to have home games at the MCG. Did you guys, and this is not smart ass stuff, did you guys hit 100k this year? Geelong's on 92. No, Richmond was talking about 92. Geelong's on 92 as well. Look at all those fair weather Richmond supporters. They all piled on. Now their team shit. They disappeared. Little team from up the highway equals them for memberships. Membership totals 2025. This will be our last point before we take a word from our sponsor. August 7th. Oh, this is just overall stuff. Get fucked AFL website. Stop tooting your own horn. Talk about the clubs. Anyway, Lucas, we are going to get to Game of the Week and those sorts of things as well. We're only halfway through this show. So before we continue on with your Q&A, your topics of conversation, and of course, Game of the Show, let's take a word from our sponsor.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist. Visit them at shop 1211 Leather Street in Breakwater. Phone them on 035 222 2244 or visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and use the offer code GOCATS in the voucher field at checkout to get 20% off your next online purchase.
Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support of the Hoops Crew and all we get up to. And thank you, Roaming, for dropping those flower emojis. Everyone else, get in on the act, please. All right. Lucas says, if it was up to Ben, would have been finished 30 minutes ago. Yeah, I know. He's a bit of a clown. Thank you, Shadoo. So that's, and Sparlock dropping some emojis as well. So let's get into your Q&A. Ben hasn't prepared any show notes tonight because, as well as also finishing a show up far too early, he also doesn't bother with notes. He's a lazy shit who claims he's working really hard and it's difficult at the moment. But like, I'm here, the one on camera. You can just sit and write some notes. Voice to text, mate. Anyway, let's get going. Brownlow watch. Every time Henry gets a vote, I drink. You're going to be stone cold sober. A repeat of the 2022 prelim would be good. That would be good. As long as it's a prelim that we win, I'm happy. I'd also love a 2007 prelim. That'd be nice. I know, obviously, it was a close one and probably half of us here had a heart attack, but so climactic. It was awesome. Lucas didn't like my response. Shadoo says, did you see Warple versus Lions? What do we reckon? A future cat, do we want him? I actually didn't really see much of it. I was recording Patched at the time, which will go live tomorrow, 7 a.m. Check it out on podcast feeds and YouTube. For the gamers here in the chat, for the gamers, it's never like, anyway, I hate that. It sounds super lame. But anyway, I'm bringing up the wrong match here. So I'd like someone who can kind of speak to the eye test when it comes to Warple, but I'm just going to quickly take a look at some of his numbers and just see what he provided. 22 disposals, 10 kicks, 12 handballs, 2 marks, 3 tackles, clearances. 4 clearances is not too bad. It's where's that rank? Equal 4th on the ground. 3rd best for Hawthorn. 450 meters gained. It's not a bad night, especially from 72% of game time. But the eye test would be the thing that I guess, because like Luke says, Warple was awful in the Lions game. Turnover merchant. Okay, so that's what I don't have as things stand. I need to look at the advanced stats here and look at disposal efficiency. Oh, yeah, to Luke's point, there we go. 50%. 50% disposal efficiency. He was a bit rough. Now, of course, that might be also skewed because some of those clearances might have landed straight down the throat of someone if he's just, launch the ball out of the contest. But it doesn't make for good reading. But thank you for that little bit of insight. Scotty says, Geelong told Warple to tank his value and he's been playing his part in this charade brilliantly. Yeah, I can get it. Gary, as he will regularly say, says we don't need Warple. I think we need depth through that part of the ground, though. We already have Atkins, I know, but we won't have him forever. I am never going to say no to high-quality players coming through the doors, as long as we don't overpay and if we can clearly identify players on the list who aren't going to make it. If there's some obvious delisting candidates, and then you're going to fill with that, especially in a year where, the draft is not supposed to be very deep. I'll be perfectly happy if we get our Geelong NGA pick, and we go and scoop up Jesse Mellor. If we go and pick up Mellor, and then we aren't too active in the draft, and we go and get someone like a Warple, and we build our depth that way. I can deal with it. I'm not necessarily drafting for someone who's going to play every single week. I want to make sure that, and maybe he does, maybe he earns his spot, but I want us to have options. I want us to have depth. I want us to be there or thereabouts all the time. And I think the model that Geelong's employed has seen us bring in players that fit that description over many years. And I think that's played a big part in why we've continued to be relevant, why we've continued to fight for a premiership every single year, is because if one soldier goes down, there is someone who's perfectly capable of stepping right up. There's arguments to be made that Scott Selwood wasn't in our best 22, for example, when he was with us, but he was always there or thereabouts. He'd obviously tackle the house down, but you could make the argument that he didn't quite belong. There's others that probably stuck around on the list that were, that weren't. I mean, they weren't regulars. And now we've got some of our experienced players who kind of fit that bill as well. I can deal with it. But anyway, Luke McHenry says, are we able to get Jai Newcomb? No chance. Absolutely no chance, I wouldn't have thought. Aaron also sharing when it comes to Warple, he didn't do anything special last night. Shadu asks, what is one change you'd make versus the Lions? Chris Scott has been strangely reticent to make changes against Brisbane, and I think it's cost us. They've figured us out. I don't think they've figured us. Well, sorry. Let me walk that back. I think we've just been completely outplayed recently. And I'm trying to remember now what the move was. They did something in the last game that we played that did, and like that kind of exposed a little bit. For the life of me, I can't think of how we played it. I think it was just the way they closed the middle and kind of cut off our thrust forward. So we'll learn from that and kind of rebound. But I think in a lot of ways, Geelong's we've just not been the better team on the day for the most part. They've executed when they've needed to. They have, to the jokes I made before about Brisbane being inaccurate and having fight against us. They've stepped up to the plate when they've needed to against us recently. So I'm not... As long as they've learnt the lessons they need to learn from the last game, because we did get, they kind of pulled apart our approach last time with the way they structured up around the ground, I'm not too freaked out. Luke McHenry says, what about Will Day for a future third? I mean, that's probably all he's worth the number of times he gets injured. But I'm not expecting us to be able to pull him either. Otherwise, that'd be great. Lucas is clarifying. I think this is regarding Warple. No under pressure, he turns it over way too much, especially during handball chains. Fair. Flash says, Harley Reid in 28. Scotty says, who you think you're playing in the semi? I mean, if we lose, I need to remember what side of the draft this is all going to be. What side of the ladder we're going to be. So predictor, go to finals. This is all based on the assumption that the Gold Coast win. The margin is a whole other thing, but actually I need to flip that because I think the Gold Coast are going to win by enough. What do they need to win by? It's like 25 points or more. They'll win by more than 25 against the Bombers. So let me just up that to 30. They slip into 7th. And now let me project this. Why not? Let's project it. Let's get into it. I'll indulge you, Scotty. AFL ladder. So I've got, based on Gold Coast winning by 25 points or more, because I think that was the margin. I tipped them by 30. Gets them into 7th. Here's our top 8. So in the event that, let's indulge Scotty, in the event that we lose, we're going to play a home final against either Fremantle or Gold Coast. And I would back us in. So who do I think we're going to play? Freo. I feel like we're probably going to play Freo. But let's plot out what that would look like. Oh, God. I don't even know. Like, the Giants are depleted. They're missing out Jesse Hogan and others. Collingwood are just shit at the moment. I'll give them the edge because they'd be playing at home, I suppose. Then we've got a date against the Crows. Adelaide Oval doesn't scare us. Cats, Lions, good Lord. Cats win. In a rematch. But anyway, that's if we lose. Of course, that won't be the case. So let's flip that. Cats beat Pies in prelim. Crows beat who gives a fuck. Cats win. You heard it here first. Anyway, moving on. Jed was really underrated, defended perfectly. I thought he played a great game on the weekend. Rowan Marshall, awful. Last 2 minutes against GWS in the ruck, tried to milk a free kick, which led to a goal. Embarrassing. This is also the same bloke that completely orchestrated the Nasiah Wanganeen Miller thing. Take a look at the footage and who led it. He led it. Nasiah executed, as did Rowan Marshall with the kick. You have good ones. You have bad ones. I'm not losing sleep over that. The last Hawk we got worked out pretty well for us. It did. He's a Norm Smith medalist. If Chris Scott had any integrity, he'd drop Cameron for the Brisbane final. You're sounding like Lucas, mate. Flash says, you know what? I'd play Jed as the permanent sub. He always steps up when needed, so maybe just name him as the sub every week. Yes, bring back Scratcher for sure. Of course, he'll be back from his suspension. From memory, they managed to cut us off a lot. Yeah, as I said before, they really played the ground nicely. Again, I think the wider ground of the MCG will help us in that regard. And that'll make it a little bit harder for them to kind of cut us off because we've got so much more real estate to work with. But that's exactly what they did against us at GMHBA, and they kind of intercepted really quite well, especially early on, and kind of broke the back of us early. Tag Rayner does nothing regular season, turns into prime Ablett in finals type games. Last night, great again, needs to have a heavy tag. Yeah, there needs to be some serious accountability for Cam Rayner because he is an absolute jet. Good work on the spelling for Cam Rayner, Lucas. Sorry, teacher mode. Isaac Smith said he was... if he was Chris Scott, he'd 100% play Cam Guthrie in the final series. Realistic or foolish? Foolish? I don't trust his body. If I knew his body was going to hold up, yeah, I guess. But I don't trust his body. Can't afford Harris Andrews taking another 14 intercept marks. No, we can't have that. But can we make a deal, Ben? If Geelong are in the bottom two next year, you have to get a Buzz haircut. It won't happen. So, Ben, come on, make your promise. Mark says McCluggage is a bit of a gun in the middle at the moment, yet we need to squash him. I think you get Shark and you get Oshin and you stick him on Neil and you stick him on McCluggage, and then you have Atkins go head-to-head with Will Ashcroft, and hopefully you win. Grin says, hi, peeps. Jackie says, I'd play Mark Blitzarves on Harris Andrews. Blanket that mofo. I like it. Make him accountable because Blitz can still get the job done. He's a bit wobbly in front of the goals. We all know this, but he can still get the job done. You cannot afford to ignore Mark Blitzarves, and that allows Scratcher and that allows Jeremy Cameron to not have to contend with the biggest threat. But, you know, I guess it's how do you create that matchup? Because you suspect that Harris Andrews is just not going to want to go to him. So you've got to find ways to kind of switch, essentially, basketball style switch, and kind of force Andrews to be accountable for Blitzarves while Scratcher or Scratcher or Cameron get away. Amy says, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't had all our defenders firing the last 2 times we played Brisbane either. That is true. To the MCG fans that want that game at the MCG as well, if we lose our first final, let's just stay tuned. We've got 2 weeks. I don't want to keep talking about this for the next 2 weeks. We've already done it to death. Flash says, we've got to win, so don't worry about the semi. I really believe we need a ruckman. Toby can't get his body right. It's true. As soon as he went down again lately, I think I did the whole taps the sign thing on my Rowan Marshall video. We need him. We definitely won't be playing Carlton. Signs of life at Collingwood this weekend. I'm having to scroll a bit faster. The game scared me. Crows Cats grand final. Oh dear God, Lucas says, I know, imagine your household. Especially imagine your household after the Cats win. I'll be watching the Crows Cats grand final with coach's mum. It's my first time spelling Rayner. Scotty, Buzz haircut is weak. Shave it. Baby head. I like it. Bald is beautiful. Oh, we've almost caught up to the comments. Aaron says, our 23 is set. O'Connor and Neil return for Buse and Nevitt. Unfortunately, I agree because I still think Buse is the right player for us, but we'll see. Amy says, I don't think Cam has played enough to test his body, sadly. Yeah, I'd agree. Sparlock in response to Aaron, that's our best 23. Up the Guts says, I've caught a few Hawks games lately. Gross, I know. But it's, they're the competition. You study them. And I don't think Warple is any good. Given that everyone is saying he'll be a Cat next year, thoughts? As long as we don't pay overs, and Geelong never does. I think we can orchestrate, like a second round pick or something like that, like kind of late, not your early second round picks, but like your pick in the second round this year is going to extend a fair way. But, something like pick 30, I think that's right, isn't it? And maybe an exchange of something later on that kind of pushes Hawthorn slightly up the, maybe swapping thirds. No, I mean, both teams are pretty close on the ladder, but you can kind of shuffle a few pieces around. I think that's... I think second and some swaps of sorts will sort the deal. Game of the week is not Forza Horizon 5, Lucas. Love Jed. Lucas, I think in response to the Cats and Crows grand final, that's if you can get in the house. Don't worry about it. If we win, just burn it down. Don't worry about it. Like, who cares? Just burn it down in celebration. Who needs a house? Go live in a shed. I'm basically in here all the time. Scotty says Gary Ablett Jr. wouldn't get a game for the Druin Hawks if not for his last name. Around pick 30 is fine with me. Yeah, I think it's pretty solid. 30, when you get Lawson Humphries in the 80s, too expensive. I know, but keep in mind Lawson was a drafted player. We didn't trade in Lawson for pick 80. So I think, can I stay in your shed? No. I don't even have a heater in here. It gets bloody icy. I need to get one. He's an RFA, so Hawks will probably match and we'll need to trade for Warple. Fine. It depends. It depends on what the Cats offer. Because when you come to free agents, it's then the combination, like it's all the KSC herbs and spices about the amount that you're paying him and all those sorts of things. And that spits out a pick. And maybe the Hawks are going to be okay with what is on offer. So we'll see. Lawson is great, though he's not having the greatest season, I'll say. Like he started off strongly. And then I'd say the second half of the year hasn't been that crash hot. He's been good, but it hasn't been that crash hot. Neil for Kerno, make it happen. Shut up, Lucas. Can I host the Paul James show from Paul James Shed in the off season? We'll have a party in here. We'll bring Scotty. We'll bring Lucas. We'll have a party in the shed. Gary says, Scotty, you wouldn't know your ass from your elbow, mate. Who's doing the awards night stream? Tell us more. They're sponsored KFC. It would be a group effort. All right, let's talk about the awards night. So Kaji and all of those sorts of things. I need to remember my dates for this because Ben and I were chatting and I said I couldn't do one thing, but I could do something else. I need to work out what's what. Ben's sending me thumbnails for enough of the week instead of putting it on the video like I need him to do. Or has he already done that? No, I think he's already done that. He sent that message quite a while ago. I think he's already done that. But let me double check. I need to. So there's some stuff I can do. There's other things I can't. Oh, he mentioned. When is Kaji meant to be? That's right. So Kaji is Thursday, October 2nd. I'm holidaying at the time. So no roaming. I won't be the one hosting it. I'm off to, where am I off to? Drysdale or something? I think something like that. I'm gone for a couple nights, October 1st to the 3rd. So I won't be around. Geelong Cats TV chimes in, says, can't wait for the first final. You and me both, mate. It's going to be 2 weeks of torture in the meantime. But yeah, sorry, to put a bow on that one. I won't be around for Kaji. I might beam myself in at one point, just a quick 5-10 minutes, let myself into the stream, take over from Ben or the chaps or whoever's running it at the time. Might be a bit of a team effort even. But we'll see how that one goes. But I specifically won't be the host. But of course, there's a lot. And what I'll say while I'm kind of leaning into that, while we're continuing on the conversation about streams and those sort of things, there's going to be lots from me in the off season. I am very keen I love getting to chat to you guys, whether it is footy stuff, whether it's game stuff, whether it's both. What I'm looking to do, obviously, is, we'll talk a little bit about cricket stuff. Ben wanted to do some cricket stuff last season that didn't really get up, but we'll try and do some post-game lives there, maybe after some test matches or some Big Bash games or whatever. I'm looking to stream some games over the break. I'll be clear. I think I went through this on a recent Paul James show that I picked up a Ninja Turtles game that I will be, just because, of course, it has to be Ninja Turtles. I picked up a Ninja Turtles game, and that will be the first video game streamed out on the Hoops Crew. Of course, we've had video coverage of AFL 26 in the past, but Ninja Turtles game will be the first one of the off-season. It's just an opportunity to chat to all of you guys, whether you're video games or not. Keep in mind, only teachers' holiday in October. I am going to, just to be clear, Gary, this teacher here is going to be spending a lot of time at school over the school holidays. My year 12s are gearing up for exams, and I'm giving a lot of days, unpaid, I might add, a lot of overtime that will be unpaid to get in there and support those guys. So I don't feel, it doesn't even bother me in the slightest that people make those jokes, because I'm not even going to shy from it. Dead set gun at my job. I'm going to toot my own horn here, because for years at every school I've been to, I've had the best year 12 results of not just my school, but everyone who competes against me in the local areas, and hasn't changed, won't change. And I'm putting that on my pitch to some other schools that I'm looking to apply to at the moment. I'm selling myself to the highest bidder right now. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you all in the loop if I find myself with a new home work-wise next year. But I don't see that really impacting our content anyway. More good years in Neil as opposed to Curnow. We're really leading into this Neil and Curnow conversation. Curnow's he's overrated. If you take away every free kick, every goal he gets from free kicks, he doesn't have many left. Suns TV pops in and says Suns are better than Geelong. Thanks, champ. How'd the last time you played us go? And while we're at it, how's scrambling to make the finals going? Having to beat Essendon to make it. Don't talk to us about that. Bianca's willing to host. We'll have to get Bianca on the stream. That'd be cool as well. We'll have to talk to Ben there. Flash Movie Trivia says Neil is having his breakout year, which we all wanted. Not enough people paying attention to his development the year after Tommy retires. Absolutely 110% agree with you. And Gary, I know we can differ from time to time, but you're on board as well. Love it. Oh, accidentally smashing buttons. Suns TV, are you lost? I like it. Don't be a CRT. It's hell. You get more money as a CRT. But anyway. Pay a tutor at the start of VCE to write your kids' essays for you and just commit them to memory. Make sure they use repetitive and concise sentence structure, because the assessors aren't reading shit. It's true. They don't really read much. I am a maths teacher, so I don't have to deal with that so much on my side of the fence, but I agree. Suns TV, charity boxing match between me and the admin. Suns TV's dropped the comment in there and he's fired a few of you up. Curnow would kill for Cameron's whistle. Confirmed low information, blue phobic hater, umps hate Mackay and Curnow. We've really upset Scotty there. So what we're going to do now, and I'm going to provide the opportunity for some more questions to come rolling in the meantime, is we're going to get across to our game of the show. I'm not going to dwell too much on it afterwards, because I know for the likes of Gary and some others who don't care about video games in the slightest, I know this is kind of the lull in the show. This trailer goes for 2 minutes. I'll give it another minute or so of oxygen afterwards, and then we'll get back to all things footy. So please bear with me. No, not bear with me. Video games are awesome. I hope people appreciate them more. And this one comes from Australia. This is almost without doubt the most anticipated game for the remainder of the year. And it comes from South Australia, Lucas. Your South Australians are absolutely putting on, I'm not saying my most anticipated game. It's right up there. But it's probably one or two, actually. But certainly the universal right now, most anticipated game for the rest of the year. This is Hollow Knight Silksong. Hollow Knight Silksong is going to be huge. And Lucas, that fucking ignorance here, the what the hell is this, is absolutely wild. This is the most wishlisted game on Steam right now and has been for quite some time. And it's exploded since the release date got announced 1 week ago. So stay tuned for, just go check it out. Go check out the original. The original is exploding in terms of gaming numbers at the moment as well. There's like 50,000 concurrents, I think, as we speak, roughly right now. But anyway, that is Hollow Knight Silksong, comes from Australia. This is the top two, we'll say, top two most anticipated games for the remainder of the year. It's going to be massive. And it comes from your backyard. So, and it also, Lucas, it might expose you a little bit as being a bit of a shit gamer. It's going to really test your skills. But anyway, let's get back to all things football. Kiri's back. He's home. We're stoked. It's awesome. Kiri says, fun fact, Paul, our band director for the community band wrote the music for it. We have played some of the tracks as well. Holy shit. You've done what? I want you... Oh, my God. Christopher Larkin. You play with Christopher Larkin. Mate, that's so fucking awesome. Oh, you send me the link on the Discord chat. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm keen. I'd love to see that. That'd be great. I know you've got some music chops. So that's unreal. All right. While Kiri's sending me that, let's keep talking about footy. Oh, that's so good. Got a better game score than you. Now I'm just watching Discord. TDK to Saints, does that mean Roma? So hang on, I did see some comments about TDK. So has it happened? Is it official? I'm going to Twitter. And the first thing I see is Caroline Wilson talking about Charlie Curnow going to Sydney. Let's just... I'm just going to I'm not going to play the video because we'll get demonetized. But let's just project this on the screen for a second, just for Scotty. Oh, come on. There we go. I don't know what you hate more about this picture. Is it Charlie Curnow being in the Swans outfit? Or is it Caroline Wilson? Kara's saying the deal's done, apparently. But hang on, is that related to TDK or is that related to Charlie? I'm gonna have to listen into this whilst not projecting it. But 8 years for TDK. Whew. Let me get rid of that one. Let me unshare my screen, and then I'm just gonna have a bit of a listen at the same time. Big Chaz to the Cats. It's just the third tall. We're not getting rid of anyone. Oh, she says her view. Righto, Caro. Now. Oh, also shout out, social media's just informed me that it's Claudia Gunjaka's birthday today. So massive shout out to Claudia. She's an absolute rock star. Love her work. And obviously former guest of Behind the Play. What else? What else have we got here? I'm just doing a bit of a scroll through. Bit of a scroll through the socials. Let's look at TDK. What's the internet got to say? John Ralph is reporting TDK could tell Carlton as early as tomorrow that he's off to the Saints, while Curno's exit interview will be fascinating. Does he tell Michael Voss he's interested in a trade to Sydney or not? He's open to it, but Carlton are resolute that he's not going anywhere. And then Age Real Footy reports. Exclusive, St Kilda land Tom De Koning on an 8-year mega deal. Righto. Oh, I had it for a second. Hang on, I need to toss this article into the archive.md thing. So we can bring up the... Am I suggesting Cara makes things up? No, she just embellishes the truth. There we go. All right. Thank you, archive.md. Let's project the report just so we can twist the knife on Scotty a little bit here. We've had to go to archive.md, so there we go. Saints land De Koning on an 8-year mega deal. St Kilda have secured their second multi-million-dollar signing in the space of 2 weeks, as Carlton ruckman Tom De Koning committed to joining the Saints on an 8-year deal. Competition sources confirmed to this masthead that the Saints upped their offer to De Koning from 7 years to 8 to secure his signature. I think they already had it. So are they just doing this to smooth the money a bit more? Because it is as things were looking, 3.7 for the next 2 years for TDK and for Nasai was a lot. But anyway, the 26-year-old's commitment comes a week after the Saints re-signed young star Nasai Wanganeen-Miller on a 2-year deal. De Koning has played 100 games for Carlton since making his debut in the AFL 2018. He gave a speech, blah, 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 blah. His departure is now confirmed. Carlton has been hoping De Koning would tell them as soon as possible whether he's staying or going to St Kilda as a restricted free agent so they could plan their next moves with certainty. It had previously been reported, 1.7 per season. St Kilda had been contacted for comment. Don't let Scotty souring up. Cara's a fucking dog for what she did to Kenny Hunter to launch her career. Sorry, I don't. Kenny Hunter. Is this your first Carlton silly season? No, it's not. We've been witness to this for a lot, but I'm enjoying twisting the knife a little bit here. Rowan Marshall could go to Carlton. I mean, he could. I don't think he will. Shadu says couldn't get Archive MD to work today. Working for me now, thankfully. Right time, right place. TDK leaving is actually a good thing, guys. Why would I be upset? He can fudge off. Ben says, is this a 3-hour show? Absolutely not. I've got a games review that I've got to finish writing and have that one online in an hour and 11 minutes. RIP in peace, me. TDK leaving is a disaster to the Blues, who cannot manage a salary cap disgrace. They let a player like that out the door because they couldn't manage contracts properly. 3 hours longer than yours, Ben. Hey, he did do a 2-hour post-game live the other day. I know it's not 4 hours. I know it's not 4 hours like I did the other night, or last week. But anyway, Aaron asks, who are some of the key matchups for the game against Brisbane? Let me remove this and go back to full screen. They have runners everywhere. McCluggage, Wilmot, Bailey, Ashcroft, Fletcher all need to be kept in check. You're right. I think we've got a pretty fleet-footed crew in the forward line as well. Shannon Nill's good for his size. Jeremy Cameron, good for his size. You've then got Close and Myers and Stengel. Like, these guys are going to have to be really accountable. The ones that I want to hone in on are the likes of McCluggage in particular, because he's more through that midfield realm as opposed to one end of the ground or the other. McCluggage is the one for me that I think we really need to shut down because he's just so efficient, dangerous on his feet. And so for me, we need to tag him. Like I was saying earlier in the show, I think we need to toss either Oshin or Mark O'Connor on him and try and lock him down. Zorko too should do flags. Yeah, Zorko's a real threat, not for his pace, but he's a pretty handy player. So Lucas says 5-hour emergency meeting if we lose to Brisbane. I mean, we'll see. 5 hours, huh? The 7:40 game. Done by maybe 10:40. I'll be home by midnight. And then you propose a 5-hour stream. No, you can get fucked. But Ben's not keen on it. All right, fine. Scotty says, can anyone make a case for me as to why it's a great idea to pay a ruckman $1 million per season? Yeah, I don't think it's a great thing. But the reason why this is what it is for St Kilda right now is that they've been forced to, because they've reached out to so many players over the course of the last few years, and they've all said no. They're trying to turn themselves into a destination club of sorts, and to do that, you've got to try and price some players out for big fat stacks of cash. So that's kind of the situation they're in. And then you kind of break the optical thing eventually, hopefully in time, they get some on-field success. And then suddenly you're not having to pay these ridiculous premiums anymore. People are going to want to come to your club because the culture's good, or they feel like there's a chance of success, or any of those sorts of things. So that's kind of the situation they're in. It's kind of the situation that your club needs to be in. Like, you're going to have to, like, it's been so bleak for a little while now that you've got to price some players out with some fat stacks of cash, I think. Geelong doesn't have to, because we give them blocks of lands and cotton on deals. But we don't have to pay fat stacks of cash, and because people want to come for the success. 20 years of being in the top 4 most of the time. Like, it's wild, the success that this club has had, and it doesn't go unnoticed. You want to be part of it. And then if you are a surfer guy, or you are a bit of a country boy, you get to tick those boxes as well. Like, there's the lifestyle, there's the footy success. It becomes obvious. And I know I feel like I'm doing the sales pitch here, but I think it's pretty straightforward. And so when it comes to somewhere like St Kilda, who's just had nothing for so long now, nothing since Nick Rewalt was at his absolute prime, you need a circuit breaker. I just don't think, and maybe Scotty's point here, TDK has played a dozen good games over 8 years, stunk it up when the payday was put in front of him, kills culture, I only want people who play for the jumper. That I agree with. I wouldn't be, but I guess, speaking as a Geelong supporter, I wouldn't be expecting Geelong to offer those sorts of stacks of cash for someone who's potentially dangerous like that. Carlton, you want to believe that your club can do that, but history maybe says otherwise. St Kilda, it's their choice to make, right? I guess they're going to try and put some faith in him, faith in Messiah, and then the leadership they've got around, the Jack Steels and everyone else that's there to drive this club in the right direction and kind of break up any toxic elements that come in the door. So we'll see how it goes. 15th qualifying final in 19 years says it all. That's the culture we've built. Luke says, we'll come on the stream and start rating, and we'll smoke for that stream. What? Jackie says, fuck St Kilda and enjoy that bounce off the ball. Bounce of the ball, sorry. TDK tap to advantage, challenge impossible. Actually, SDK is about on 650, says TDK about the same. Not after he signs this deal. He could give SDK an extra 650 per year and would still almost be earning more than him. Hey Flash, we need some actual movie trivia questions. That is a good point. One more round of questions, and then I'm going to get myself inside because I've got to get to work. So have at it. If you've got any questions about Geelong and Brisbane, about the rest of the finals, about off-topic stuff, keen to hear your thoughts. Rankin playing alongside Snoop Dogg. Yeah, that'll go down well. Check out Enough of the Week tomorrow, where I'm going after the AFL for the way they've handled this whole thing. It is not... and I'll stress this again, for anyone who's maybe in here and hasn't kind of heard me discuss this topic in depth, I don't care what your politics are or your social politics are when it comes to homophobia. If you're a hardcore lefty, hardcore righty, somewhere in the middle, I actually don't care. It's irrelevant to the whole conversation about Isaac Rankin. The AFL needs to work out what the penalty is going to be, and they've been a little bit too fluid with it over the journey, and they need to fix that up. But right now, the verdict is 5 or 6 weeks. For them to go 4 is taking the piss and making themselves, their own integrity unit, look like it's lacking in integrity. So stay tuned for the video tomorrow where I expand on all of that. Campbell 2K4 says, Do you think Brisbane will put major attention to Holmes and Smith? I mean, if they're doing their job properly, they've got to try and lock down on, I think especially Holmes. They've really got to lock down on him. JL says, only recently remembered that the Cats hosted the Dockers in... Don't talk about this shit. Get out of here, JL. I like you. Enough of that. Flash says, what is the best footy movie you ever saw? Biff's Bumps and Brawlers. Lucas says, can't wait for Brisbane to kick 15 goals 5 next week. Of course, they find their accuracy with us. Scotty says, when will you apologize for your Kerno slander? Never. Ben says the one with Denzel, make them all wear TMNT shirts. And that is our final comment of the night from the look of it as things stand. So thank you all for having tuned in tonight. Looking forward. Luke says he's both left and right hardcore. It's the 11th rule of the Paul James Show. Anyway, thank you all for having tuned in tonight. If you've enjoyed it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe on YouTube, share the video, the channel with your friends, your family, and even that random homeless guy you've seen on the street. Give him a phone. Goodwill of your heart. Give him a phone. Then smack him. Take it out of his hands. Subscribe to the Hoops Crew. Then give it back to him. Make sure he's watching all of our stuff. I don't know why I had to, encourage violence for a second there. But yeah, Lucas, you did. You stumped me. I feel like I just had a little mini stroke when I read that. But yeah, give that homeless guy a phone. Subscribe to the Hoops Crew. Homeless abuse. I'm sorry, but he's getting a phone out of it, or he or she's getting a phone out of it. They can take one punch or a gentle slap. Here, check out this. Anyway, get the word out there about all things Hoops Crew, all the stuff we're creating. There's so much stuff from myself, Ben, the chaps. Lots of awesome stuff for you there to check out. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel and check it out. Consider checking out our Patreon as well. Patreon.com/thehoopscrew. There's a 7-day free trial to get all of the early access, exclusive, and extended content that we are creating. And for $5 a month, you'll continue to get that delivered to your email inbox. Would really appreciate that support. It helps grow the Hoops Crew dream, allows us to reinvest in this business that we're building and make it something even better for you. We're cooking on ideas for next year, and we're keen to have you all a part of it. Not that this year is done. And God, look out if we win a premiership. The content, it's going to live streams every day for the next week after the grand final if we win that. But anyway, socials. You'll find me at Paul James Games. That's on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram. The Hoops Crew is at The Hoops Crew. And until next time, remain Geelong strong, everyone. Check out Enough of the Week tomorrow morning. I think Ben has scheduled it for 9 a.m. Then the chaps will be up later in the night with their review episode where they'll discuss the men's game, the women's game, and everything else as well. The extended version will be there on Patreon for you to check out as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.